Hi, and welcome back to lecture number 8. This is topic 1.8, Culture and Trade in Southern and East Africa. There's 2 learning objectives, and the first says, describe the function and importance of Great Zimbabwe's stone architecture. Great Zimbabwe is the kingdom we're discussing in Southern Africa. Here are the modern-day boundaries of the country of Zimbabwe, with the city of Great Zimbabwe located where the blue square is. It was inhabited by the Shona people and reached a peak population of about 18,000 between the 11th and 15th centuries. At its height, it had links to the Swahili Coast, and through those trade links, they obtained goods from as far as China. The goods traded from Zimbabwe included gold, ivory, and cattle. And the reasons for its decline are not definitively known, but could include the exhaustion of the gold resources, political instability, famine, or water shortages. The capital city of Great Zimbabwe is best known for its large stone architecture, which is unique because it was built without mortar, a technique known as dry stonewalling. It had 3 distinct architectural groups: the hill complex, the valley complex, and the great enclosure. All these structures offered military defense and served as a hub for long-distance trade with the Swahili Coast. The great enclosure itself was composed of an inner wall with a series of structures and a younger outer wall. Historians and archaeologists do not always agree on the exact uses of each structure, but it is known that they were sites for religious and administrative activities. The conical towers, like the one seen on the screen, likely served as granaries or places to store grain. The hill complex is thought to have been the royal family's residence, providing a vantage point over the surrounding valley. Additionally, the great enclosure's walls were about 11 meters high and 250 meters in circumference, showcasing advanced construction techniques. So why is Great Zimbabwe important? It symbolizes the prominence, autonomy, and agricultural advancement of the Shona kings and early African societies. Notable artifacts from the complex include the Zimbabwe birds, a set of soapstone sculptures found in the hill complex. These birds are now a national symbol and feature on the Zimbabwean flag. Great Zimbabwe is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and Portuguese travelers who first encountered the ruins in the 15th century were awed by its scale and sophistication. The architectural achievements of Great Zimbabwe influenced other stone-built structures in southern Africa, such as those in Kami and Danamombe. Furthermore, the economic prosperity of Great Zimbabwe was heavily reliant on its control over gold mining and trade routes. The site served as a political and economic center for the region, facilitating trade and governance. The second learning objective is to explain how geographic, cultural, and political factors contributed to the rise and fall of the city-states on the Swahili Coast. The Swahili Coast is on the eastern side of Africa and stretches from Somalia to Mozambique. The term Swahili comes from the Arabic word coast. The word Swahili means people of the coast. The center of power was the Kilwa Sultanate in modern-day Tanzania. The location of these city-states enabled them to link the African interior to the Persian, Indian, and Chinese trade. As previously mentioned, Chinese pottery was found in Great Zimbabwe, and elements of Southwest Asian architecture were seen in mosques constructed along the coast. The Swahili city-states were known for their bustling ports, which facilitated extensive maritime trade. Additionally, the city-states were strategically located to control the flow of gold, ivory, and slaves from the interior to the coast. Major city-states included Kilwa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, Pemba, and Sofala, each playing a crucial role in the regional trade. Between the 11th and the 15th centuries, the Swahili Coast city-states were united by language. Most people living here arrived in Africa through the Bantu expansion, which originated near the Bight of Benin and follows 2 different migration patterns, one down the western coast and one towards the east and south along the eastern coast of Africa. The Bantu speakers blended their language with Arabic due to the Arabic influence through trade, creating Swahili. Swahili became a lingua franca that facilitated communication and trade among diverse groups. The people who migrated as part of the Bantu migration also brought various traditions such as ceramic practices, which are common across the Swahili Coast. The Swahili culture itself is a syncretic blend of African, Arab, Persian, Indian, and later Portuguese influences. The city-states were characterized by their distinctive coral stone architecture as seen in the Great Mosque of Kilwa and the Husuni Kubwa Palace. Religion also played a unifying role. Islam was the dominant religion along the Swahili Coast, influenced by Arab traders and settlers from Persia and Arabia between the 8th and 11th centuries, following a schism in the Islamic Caliphate. The Swahili city-states developed a distinct Islamic culture, blending African and Islamic elements in art and daily life. Additionally, Islamic law, or Sharia, was integrated into the legal systems of the city-states, influencing governance and commerce. The construction of mosques and religious schools further solidified the role of Islam in the Swahili society. Festivals and religious practices such as the celebration of Eid were integral to the social and cultural life of the Swahili city-states. European incursions into Africa began with Portugal, the first European power to explore the Swahili coast. Portugal was interested in bypassing overland trade routes to reach the spice and other Asian goods. Vasco da Gama sailed around the Cape of Good Hope in 1498. Then the Portuguese invaded major cities along the coast and established settlements, starting with the islands of Mozambique and Sofala, and later dominating Kilwa. However, the Omani Sultanate from the Arabian Peninsula expelled the Portuguese from Mombasa on the northern coast in 1698. The Portuguese aimed to control the lucrative Indian Ocean trade and establish a maritime empire. Furthermore, the Portuguese introduced new agricultural products and technologies to the Swahili coast. The Omani presence in the region led to the establishment of Zanzibar as a major center for the spice trade and slave trade. The arrival of the Portuguese also led to the fortification of coastal cities, with structures like Fort Jesus in Mombasa reflecting the need for defense against European incursions. And finally, here's our recap. Great Zimbabwe flourished from the 12th to the 15th century CE. The stone structures there were used for various religious and practical purposes, reflecting the advanced engineering skills. Great Zimbabwe continues to be a symbol of autonomy in southern Africa. The Swahili Coast rose in influence due to Indian Ocean trade, with its city-states sharing language and religion, influenced by Bantu and Islamic cultures. Portuguese imperial goals dominated trade on the Swahili Coast from the 15th to the 17th century. The architectural and cultural achievements of Great Zimbabwe and the Swahili city-states remain influential in this region. Additionally, the blend of African and foreign elements in these societies created unique cultural and economic systems that impacted subsequent generations. The legacy of these civilizations continued to shape the cultural identity and historical understanding of Southern and East Africa. Thank you for watching. If you would like to watch the next lecture, click the thumbnail on the screen. And if you would like more resources to help you study, you can visit apushlights.com/afam. I wish you the best of luck with your studies, and I hope to see you back on the next lecture.